Welcome to the Front Seat Life podcast. This is Jessica Butts, your host and CEO and creator of Front Seat Life, where I help you be unapologetically who you are in your life, love, and business. Hello, Front Seat Lifers. It is your host, Jessica Butts, and I am ironically, this is actually the irony is not lost on me. Let me just say that. I am in beautiful Maui. I am sitting in my gorgeous condo right now, overlooking the ocean, doing an episode about compartmentalization. I've actually been thinking about this episode for about 2 months, knowing that I actually wanted to do this episode while I was here because it's ironic. It's ironic because I'm about to talk to you about what it's like to compartmentalize and to be in the moment when you're in the moment. And yet I'm doing the opposite of that. So please don't send me messages being like, wow, that's really ironic. The irony is not lost on me, people. I'm well aware of the irony that I'm doing at this moment. So today's topic is about compartmentalization. It can be called being in the moment. It can be being focused in the moment, whatever you want to call it. I personally call it compartmentalization. And this is a particular issue with intuitive types and judging types. So I want to be very clear to the listeners that this is more of an issue, again, for N types, intuitive types, and especially J types. So if you're an NJ like myself, this is even more difficult. SJs still absolutely struggle with this. And I also think this is an epidemic going on in our country right now, especially with busy moms, busy women, busy entrepreneurs, all of us trying to do multiple things at one time and wearing multiple hats. And what it looks like is this visual. So I was given this visual. It's a book. I can't recommend the book. I didn't love the book, but I absolutely love the title, and I've referenced it many times. And it's called Men Are Like Waffles and Women Are Like Spaghetti. And I don't believe that to be fully true and around gender specifically, but what the title is referencing is very true. And it's a great visual. And you guys know now that I love visuals to help us learn important lessons. And the idea is if you were to pour syrup over a waffle, the syrup stays in the compartments, right? It goes into the waffle. And so there's these compartments of syrup. And the idea is that the author is suggesting men, but I'm suggesting certain personality types are more like waffles, meaning it is easier for them to compartmentalize. And I guess I should back up and kind of give you my definition of compartmentalization. And compartmentalization to me is really about being able to be in the moment that you're in. So we live currently in a world of multitasking. We're on our phones, we're working. Again, the irony of being on vacation right now with my mom in this beautiful place of Maui, and working is not an example of compartmentalization. And I know that. And being able to be in the moment, giving 100% of your energy to what you're doing in that moment. There's been an episode, and I've talked many times about being versus doing. And the doing part is, I'm going to go do this, and we're going to go do this, and I'm going to worry about this, and I'm going to be on my phone, and I'm going to be talking to my neighbor. And it's doing 10 different things, giving 10% of your energy versus this idea of compartmentalization, of compartmentalizing your own energy and your focus. So when you're working, putting your phone away, turning off your your laptop notifications. Like again, one of my dear friends, Debbie Rosemont, she's an organizer, and she talks about effectiveness, and multitasking can make you stupid. And this is that idea, is that we live in this society right now where we're trying to do 50 different things or 10 different things or whatever at any given moment versus learning how to live a little bit like the syrup in the waffles, and learning how to compartmentalize. So again, as an entrepreneur, as an intuitive type, and as a judging type, this is something that we specifically really, really struggle with, because as intuitives, we're always what ifing. And as judgers, we're always looking into the future. So for sensing types, compartmentalization, living in that waffle, if you will, is so much easier for them, because they innately and naturally have more of an ability to be in the moment. So S's, sensors, are tactile, touchy kinds of people. And so SJs, they are all definitely thinking about the future and what's next, but they're much, much more in the moment, because sensors have an ability to be in the moment, where intuitives are always thinking about what's next, or where they're going to be, or where we're going. I was, again, I'm in Maui with my mom, and we just went for a super long walk and got some coffee. And I was actually talking to her about this, that I have this almost anxious need to create new things. It is, I can barely describe it. It's just this, innateness and an absolute need to create new things. And part of that is this intuitive type. So for you listeners right now who, to understand that feeling of, I need to go back to school, or I want to go on a trip, or I want to read this new book, or I want to hire a new coach, or I want to create a new program in my business before finishing the thing that you're finishing. So this is a big part of the reason that I wanted to do this episode right before I go into summer school. For those of you who want to know more about summer school, just pop over to jessicabutts.com, and there's tons of information. We're starting on July 8th. But this idea for entrepreneurs, and I see this over and over and over again with my clients, is that they are all over the place and they never finish anything that they've started. They are, Jessica, I'm going to go do this, and I'm going to go do this, and I'm going to go do this. And they have not learned how to build the foundations of their business, learning how to complete 90-day goals, learning how to focus on the thing that they're meaning to do right now versus, I'm going to go over here. I'm going to go over here. Squirrel, squirrel, squirrel. Super easily distracted by all the bright, shiny objects. And that is an absolute detriment to the long-term business strategy for any entrepreneur, for any intuitive type, to not finish what you started. I will even say, this is just a life lesson, right? This is a simple life lesson. Think about how many diets people start, or how many workout regimens, or different things that people start and they never finish because they haven't learned how to compartmentalize. People start with, I'm going to do this diet, and I'm going to do this, and I'm going to work out, and I'm going to start going to yoga, and I'm going to do this, I'm going to ride my bike, and I'm going to blah, blah, blah. They try to do a million different things versus compartmentalizing, really perfecting the thing that they need to perfect. Instead, they want to start something new. And I will admit, I'm an 80-20 girl. Like 80% of the time, I really strive to do these things that I teach myself and I do myself. 80% of the time, I'm going to really do these things. 20% of the time, like right now, working in Maui, 20% of the time, I am flitting all over the place, and I want to write this book, and I want to go over here. And, my amazing director of operations is always like, girl, stop it. Like, stop creating something new. Because again, us intuitive judgers, we have this desire, but that is what this episode is about learning that we have this innateness. Like, you guys know, my whole tagline is be unapologetically who you are. And we still have to learn about ourselves, and then learn, like, what are the things in my life that are creating chaos, that are creating an inability for me to actually get some stuff done. And this is one of them. So let me describe the rest of this book, because again, I'm super excited about this topic, obviously, and I've already gotten off topic, which is what happens when I get excited. So the idea of this book, again, is men are like waffles and women are like spaghetti. So let's go back to this analogy of pouring syrup over a waffle. Again, we are compartmentalized. We are with our partner. We are with our children. We are on vacation. We are doing a podcast. We are paddleboarding. We are making love. We are doing whatever we are doing 100%. We are not, thinking about other stuff, distracted by other stuff, but we're giving our full attention to that thing. Now, the other analogy, and I'm guessing most of the listeners, because most of my listeners are women, you guys are going to resonate much more with this. In fact, I've had a lot of heterosexual couples kind of talk about this, women complaining like, how can you just be in the moment? Or you'll ask, what are you thinking about? And they'll say, nothing. I'm thinking about Maui and whatever. And you're like, how can you only be thinking about that? Because women and these personality types in particular are much more like pouring syrup over spaghetti. So imagine that. I know it sounds disgusting, but imagine pouring that same syrup over spaghetti and everything is all intermixed. Everything's touching. We're thinking about the laundry and we're thinking about the kids and we're thinking about the relationship and we're thinking about this and we're thinking about where we're going to go next and we're thinking about dinner and we're thinking, right? We're all over the place. Or think about, you're playing with your kids or you're on your phone or you're talking to your neighbor or you're all over the place. It's so chaotic. Like as I even talk about it, you might even be experiencing this as you're listening, like a sense of chaos, a sense of like unrest, because there is this, it is chaos. It's absolute chaos. All right, front seat lifers. Oh my God, I'm so excited. I am doing something I have never done before. I am doing Front Seat Life Summer School for all my girl boss ladies out there. This is for the entrepreneurs that are kind of just starting out and or have been flailing in their business. They're kind of all over the place. They can't get their shit together. They don't know what's wrong. They don't understand because they haven't built the foundations of their business. So for the entire month of July and August, and then a huge epic one-day implementation and integration session in person or live stream on September 4th, I am going to help you get the foundations of your business together. We are going to cover what to do first and when, your website, your logo, your email list, all the stuff, social media, when, where, how often, what is your point of view, figuring out what your niche is so you can be rich and not broke, your front seat and your back seat, building a team, when to do it, how to do it, and figuring out don't do stuff that you suck at, how to stay motivated, support, mastermind, and accountability partners. What is your zone of genius? Scheduling, which is time blocking, what's important to you, CEO time, rocks, 90-day goals, which has changed my business and my clients' business, mindset, and then of course, lastly, my signature system, the 3S method of structures, systems, and singular focus. It's time to put your money where your mouth is. For those of you, and I know you guys because I've had millions of you as my clients, maybe not millions, hundreds of you as my clients, you're flailing. You've been making this promise to yourself and to your spouse, and you're saying you're going to get it together, and you never do. This is your opportunity to get everything in one place. It is Front Seat Life Summer School. We're going to get you in June. It starts July 8th. Every Monday at 9 a.m., I will be giving you content. You will then be doing homework, and you will end the week with implementation. That is an 8-week process. And then again, we have an epic full day. You can come to Seattle, you can live stream it, where we will do an entire day of integration and implementation. This is it, guys. I'm so excited to bring you this because I have been hearing this from my clients for years that this is something that they need and want. And I am finally bringing it to you all summer long. Get yourself signed up. It's only open May until June 25th. That's it. I will see you there. things that I learned in graduate school. And I want to tell you this story because it was an absolute eye-opening experience for me. So in graduate school, we were having a session and learning about mindfulness. So granted, my graduate school degree is in clinical psychology to become a psychotherapist. So that's why we were learning about mindfulness. And this in particular day, and it actually was an entire day, was on mindfulness. And the definition that I've heard of mindfulness that I like the most, that I think very much relates to compartmentalization, is paying attention on purpose. I'm going to say that again. Paying attention on purpose, meaning it actually takes effort. So it on purpose, paying attention on purpose, meaning I am going to enjoy this sunset and not do 50 other things. I am going to enjoy this conversation and not need to be on my phone. I'm going to enjoy this moment without needing to do something else. And it's a conscious effort. I'm paying attention on purpose. So that's where we started this lesson this day in graduate school. We then went on to our instructor passing out, and hey, try this. I mean, I would love for you to try this, to eat a raisin, and it needs to take you 15 minutes. So they passed out a raisin, one raisin, and you put it in your mouth and you need to eat it for 15 minutes. You roll it around, you taste it. Clearly you don't bite into it for a very long time because it'll be gone. And that sensation, so we did it, and it was bizarre. It was weird. It was, no one's talking. You're feeling it. You're tasting it in a different way. You're having different sensations. It might be irritating. It might be whatever, but you're paying attention on purpose. So we all get done. And of course, my beautiful instructor says this profound thing of, imagine if you did everything in your life that way. Imagine if you gave your children the attention that you just gave that raisin. Imagine if you made love to your partner the way that you just ate that raisin. Imagine if you enjoyed a meal the way you just ate that raisin. Imagine being in your business, focusing on your business the way that you just focused on that raisin. And that, I don't know, you can tell by my demeanor that how impactful that was. So this episode comes with a little bit of homework. I don't do this often, but I'm getting some wonderful reviews on iTunes, and I know people are listening, and I'm getting DM messages, and I'm getting things from people that are saying like, holy shit, like learning the stuff about my personality type and relationships and how I am and how this innateness is affecting my life. I know that it's changing people's lives. So the homework is, I would really like you to think about where in your life you could start learning how to compartmentalize. Where in your life can you start treating any moment like eating a raisin for 15 minutes? Do you need to give more attention to writing your book? Do you need to give more attention to your partner, to your children, to yourself? I'm single and I live alone, and, being here with my mom is an amazing experience, and we're about to go to Europe for 2 weeks, but I'm also realizing like how important my time alone is, how important my morning practice is, and that time of compartmentalization for self-care, for groundedness, for getting myself centered before my day, how critically important that is. And I treat it like eating a raisin. I mean, I sit, I'm about to go do it. It's only 8 a.m. here in Maui. Go and sit and just look at the water and be and journal and process and be with my thoughts. And it's going to be a lot longer than 15 minutes. So that's the homework. I would love for you to consider looking at your life and where can you start learning to compartmentalize. I guarantee you're going to be more effective. Again, as my friend Debbie says, multitasking makes you stupid. And when we try to do multiple things at one time, or even in a day, one of the things I teach in summer school is time blocking. Time blocking has changed probably every person's life that I've ever taught it to. And it's about specifically doing certain things during the day, during one day, versus trying to do, and specifically entrepreneurs, so many different things in one day. It just doesn't work. Again, switching from things to pouring syrup over spaghetti. It's like that. It's just not effective. So this is homework 1, is I'd love for you to go over to iTunes, write a review, 5 stars if you would. If you hate it, do what you need to do, but I hope you love it. And I'd love to hear how you're going to implement eating like a raisin and compartmentalization. And then if you want to learn more, if you're an entrepreneur, if you're hearing this for the first time, if this is something you want to learn more of the 90 days and all of these things, come join us on summer school. I'm not a salesperson. I'm an inviter. I'm doing it anyway. There's a wonderful people signed up. If you want to come join the party, come join the party, because I want to teach you these life-changing tools, because this is the deal. So many people think entrepreneurship and growing your business is just about the business, and it's not. It's about all of these life skills. It's about learning time blocking and rocks and organization and compartmentalization and obviously personality type and core values and being unapologetically who you are. There's so many more parts of it, codependency. And so over the summer, I'm definitely going to be teaching you more of that. But if you want to jump in, you want to learn more, come join us for summer school. Thank you so much for joining me today. I hope that this has been helpful and informative to you, because again, learning how to do this can be a real game changer for the happiness of your life, and I'll just say for everybody else around you. All right, guys, I'm going to go enjoy Maui. I'm looking out at the beautiful scenery right now, and it is calling me to go do some paddleboarding. So have an amazing day, and I'll see you on the next episode. All right, everybody, I have a confession to make. I have a new obsession, and that obsession is reading your ridiculously wonderful, loving, amazing reviews on iTunes. I love them. None of this even matters without all of you. So as a thank you, each week I will be reading one review on air and calling out your review with your name or your iTunes handle. So here's how it's going to go. You're going to go to Instagram and follow me at Front Seat Life. When you hear your name called out on the podcast, you are going to send me a DM with your address and say, "Oh my gosh, you just read my review." And I or my team will be sending you some Front Seat Life swag. We've got books and we've got tank tops and we've got journals and we have these adorable pink swells. So we will be choosing from the goodie bag and sending it out as a thank you. So thank you in advance. And I am so deeply honored to have the opportunity to thank you back. Here is another review coming to you. This means so much to me. This is from Naomi C. in Decatur, Georgia. And Naomi writes, "If you are human, you need to be listening to this podcast." I love it. This is a little bit of a long one, but it means a lot to me. And it's also calling out one of my dear friends, a fellow podcaster. She writes, "I found Jessica through Sarah Dean, creator of the Shameless Mom Academy podcast," which is awesome. "Learning from Jessica has changed my life. Literally. I love my husband so much. And for the years we've been together, felt compelled to fix just a few things about him, which led to arguments, misunderstanding, and hurt feelings. After reading Jessica's book and learning about personality types, which is innate and God-given, I learned to not only accept him, but love him for who he is. We are opposites in all types, which makes a super power couple. I've learned to appreciate his strengths and gifts. I've learned how to ask questions instead of passing judgment. And I'm an entrepreneur, and this has completely changed my life in my marriage and in my business. Thank you so much, Naomi. Keep them coming. Naomi, pop over to, and everybody else, pop over to Instagram at Front Seat Life, and we will gladly and lovingly send you some Front Seat Life swag as a thank you for this beautiful and wonderful review. And for those of you listening that I didn't read yours, you have an opportunity for me to read it on air, and I would be honored and delighted to do so. So thank you so much. From the bottom of my heart, truly, thank you so much for listening. I know that you have a ton of options, and the fact that you are taking time to listen to the Front Seat Life podcast means absolutely everything to me. If you're interested in learning more about the Front Seat Life way of life in the community, there's a couple ways that you can do that. First is always starting with your personality assessment tool. It's available on my website at jessicabutts.com. It's totally free, and it will help you figure out your personality type so you'll have some idea of what we're talking about. Next is, if you're interested in hiring me for a keynote or some coaching or strategy days or the fabulous and amazing Front Seat Life community, you can find out all about all of that at jessicabutts.com. Thank you so much for listening, and I'll see you next time.